Good evening, everybody. Rick Yaklin from Dying a Detroit Lions Fan. I'm your host of the podcast as well as the YouTube channel. And apologize for the look today, but it's a little warm, as most of you know, on uh, August 23rd. Um, but I haven't been in touch a whole lot lately because I've really been watching to see what was going to transpire if we were really going to have an NFL season or not. Um, Also, disappointment from the Big Ten and the Pac-10, of course, canceling their seasons. But been just trying to kind of weather the storm. But as we sit here today on the 23rd, we are 3 weeks away from Week 1 of NFL 2020. Um, so I'll get back into the regular podcast mode in the coming weeks. But I just really wanted to touch base in regards to the fact that um, I also created a new fantasy football league on NFL.com, and it will be for Dying a Detroit Lions Fan. And the first league I've started is Dying a Detroit Lions Fan 1. So if anybody's interested, in the show notes that you can find either on the podcast or on the YouTube channel down below where the title of the episode is. You'll find my Facebook information as well as email information. If you're interested in joining the league, I currently have it set to invite only. I'm trying to limit it to Detroit Lion fans. And if I don't have that filled, by next Sunday, I will open it to the public. Um, our draft will actually be Labor Day weekend, and the Dying Detroit Lions Fan 1, the draft will actually be September 6th at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Um, I run numerous leagues, so all of my leagues are custom schedules, custom rosters, custom scoring. Um, and the idea of a schedule is I usually break things into either 3 or 4 divisions, and each divisional opponent will play each other twice, all other teams once, with a 12-team schedule. Um, Playoffs will start weeks 15, 16, 17, I believe, and that leaves 14 games to be played in the regular season. Um, Again, it's a very high scoring league, and we use a lot of players. It's a high, you're going to draft 30 players. You're going to have 15 players on your bench. And the reason for that is we do have defensive players. We have defensive linemen, linebackers, and backs, in addition to a defensive team. So there are scoring categories for everything from return yardage to you name it. An individual kick return person is going to score you points based on 1 yard per or 1 point per 1 yard gained. So there's a lot of ways to go in there. So if you're interested, I don't really have a way of showing you exactly what the total lineup will be, but if you're interested, you'll be able to turn around and take a look at uh, the settings for the league if you join with us. And I think you'll enjoy it. I've been doing this now for well over 10 years, and everybody seems to enjoy the league setup that I have because not only do we have a lot of players involved, but we also have uh, the defensive players in there, and we have extremely high scoring games. So it makes things interesting, during the regular season as well as playoffs. Um, I've seen many a time somebody can go undefeated or lose 2 games and get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. So that's just the way it goes. Um, in order to have the 14 game schedule, though, we do have week 17. So you got to hope that if you've got a main quarterback or something like that, that they're not rested in for the playoffs. But that's just something we can take a look at there and give you kind of like a heads up in regards to what's going on. I will say now that the NFL.com site is one that I prefer from a standpoint that they are quick to update uh, play by play, um, and you very rarely have corrections. They're usually made during the game. Where if you play Yahoo or ESPN, I've seen it time and time again where the next day or 2 days later, you're finding corrections from something that was plugged in faulty. And I've actually seen it change outcomes of games. So that's why I prefer the NFL Network, NFL.com site, I should say, for their fantasy game. They seem to be a little bit more up to date, I should say. Um, I've been watching some of the other Detroit Lion groups on Facebook, trying to keep a little bit of attention. Um, I've been playing a lot more golf this year than I normally would. I'm playing in 2 leagues a week, so it's taken a little of my focus away from football. However, I will be um, tuning back in more and start putting more product out. Um, Also, with the league, the Dying of Detroit Lions fan won. Okay, um, I'm going to have the opportunity for people in that league to join me on podcast or on the YouTube videos using Zoom, so that we can record both simultaneously, but have guest people come in and recap a week with me, whatever the case may be. I still have intentions of getting down to Detroit on game days. I don't know what's going to happen with this fact of no fans. Um, that's going to put a damper on it because I planned on interviewing people pre-game as well as post-game from outside the stadium, um, or using one of the local bars right there, right by the entrance, to kind of set up shop for the day and be able to talk to fans going in and out. In addition, I've been in contact with MGM in regards to hosting a pregame and postgame uh, podcast and YouTube the same way, recording though from their sports book. Right now, I've gotten positive feedback, but because of the COVID issue and everything going on in regards to that, if you are anywhere aware of the casinos, they're just now opening back up, and it's still kind of a trial and error with everything going on there. Um, Also, although the feedback's been very positive for me in regards to recording at the sports book at MGM, um, they have to verify that whether the gaming commission is going to let somebody like myself do something like that. So that's still up in the air. I've got my connections going. Um, Basically, they're telling me to just hang tight until they can kind of get things a little bit more situated. And I can almost assure you it will not be week 1 or 2 or 3 of the season that I'm able to get down there and do that, but I would really like to. Um, my intent with the podcast and YouTube channel is that I will do a pregame show, um, kind of taking a look at our upcoming opponent for the week, either on Saturday evenings or if I get up early enough to get my fantasy lineups together, I may do them Sunday morning. Um, I'd say prior to like 11:30, 12 o'clock at the latest, so that I could get everything posted and online and still give me time that in case I have something come up where one of my players or whatever the case may be, maybe sitting out or sidelined or whatever the case may be. So a pregame show then. I will probably do a postgame show, and depending upon how mad I am at the Detroit Lions and how they play, it might be better for me to kind of do that on a Monday, just so I don't piss everybody off, because I will get frustrated with Patricia and Quinn. I know almost immediately. Um, but I will do a post game show too. And then somewhere during the week, we'll try to see if we can get guest people to come on board, and we'll spend 45 minutes to an hour doing a podcast and video cast together, and kind of like get to know you a little bit, and we'll discuss the Lions, um, pluses, minuses, wherever we stand, players we're hopeful for, whatever, and take a look at upcoming opponents and upcoming games. So allow me to turn around and take a break for just a second so we can get a word for our sponsors on the podcast end of it, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay, welcome back. Rick Yaklin here, your host and producer of Dying a Detroit Lions Fan, both podcast and YouTube channel. Back from our little break. Mostly that's done for the podcast networks. And just so you know, I am available. I am available on 8 different servers for podcasts, including iTunes. And you can be found in the iTunes store. So you're welcome to check me out that way and go there. Um, I've got some questions that I'm going to throw out, and you guys can kind of like take some answers, and you're welcome to message them to me on the podcast. When you listen to a podcast in return, you can ask a question, and if you do, leave your name and speak clearly, and I'll include it in the next broadcast. And on the YouTube channel, you can leave messages at viewing the actual show. You can leave a message, and I can reply to you directly on there. Also, if you're interested in co-hosting with me on an upcoming show, leave me a message in regards to that. Or again, you can use my Facebook, IM me, or also email me direct. My email address is in the show notes, and tell me your name, what you're about, and if you have any specific ideas for a podcast or something you'd like to discuss specifically in a podcast that concerns the Detroit Lions, we'll get it together and we'll schedule a time when it's convenient for you and I both, and we will sit down and create the show. So we'll go with that. So far, from what I have read and paid attention to, it's been a pretty uneventful, I guess is what I would say, training camp, albeit as abbreviated as it is, okay? But just the fact that nothing seems to be, no injuries that have happened yet so far, thank goodness. There was the scare with Stafford with the coronavirus test, but from what I understand, that turned out to be a false positive. So it looks like he's good to go. I haven't heard anything negative about Kerryon Johnson. Seems like he should be ready to go, and maybe the rookie running back will give him a run for his money. But Detroit ought to have, hopefully, some sort of a running game this year to accentuate or help Stafford in the passing game. Very disappointed last year, Stafford getting hurt. He was having a great season and doing very, very well. But, that back injury and sidelining him for the last half of the year really did hurt him. So let's hope that he comes back better than ever and is doing real well. I still hear an awful lot of people, and I'd like to get your concerns on this or your thoughts on it, of people in Facebook groups saying Stafford's to blame, he's got to go. I mean, how do you people feel about that? Do you think Stafford's the fall guy, or do you think it's the organization more than anything? And oh my God, I guess you can tell from the background there, sell the team Martha, although that hasn't happened. At least she's stepping away from the day-to-day operations. Whether her damn daughter is going to be worth the shit or not is another story. It's still the Ford family in my mind. Um, and I'm afraid all they're concerned about is money, and they don't really give a shit about putting a winning team on the field. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm willing to give her an opportunity, because she says, from what I read, that she wants a winner and she wants a Super Bowl. I guess to maybe cement her daddy's legacy and mama's legacy, whatever the case may be. And, well, not to say that I want to see old lady Ford die, but from what I understand, the team can't be sold until she is out of the way, deceased, without paying a huge tax for capital gains. So I don't know if the family's got the interest to run the team going forward if something happens to Mrs. Ford or not. But I would imagine if something happens to Mrs. Ford, that the NFL will step in and encourage new ownership to breathe some life into the Lions, since they haven't had any since 1957. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I'm sorry. Um, let's go back and recap just a little bit about this episode then. Basically, I just want to introduce the fact that I do have a fantasy football league starting on the NFL.com site. That will be this year, entitled Dying Alliance Fan 1. I will start another league if we have more Detroit Lion fans interested in fantasy football. And they are a completely custom league, from custom schedule, rosters, amount of players you're going to have, your roster spots, the fact you're going to have IR spots on your team. And they are a lot of fun. And generally, there's a little bit of trash talking going on week to week. And sometimes during games, it depends on if you get somebody that you're playing that you happen to know quite well. It's kind of fun to mess with them a little bit and jump back and forth. And if you do, generally, if you do it online or in the app itself, others can kind of chime in too with you. So that's a good thing to do. So if you're interested in playing this year, the draft will be Labor Day weekend. And I currently have it scheduled for September 6th at 7:30 p.m. September 6th, I believe, will be Sunday. Opening game will be on Thursday. And of course, the following Sunday will be the actual week 1 of the NFL season on Sundays. So we got that going. All you have to do if you're interested in playing is look into the show notes on the podcast or on the YouTube channel underneath the description of the show, and it'll have my contact information. You can either contact me by Facebook IM or email me direct, and that may be the best way. Tell me your name, your interest in playing, of course, okay, and give me your email address. I will correspond back with you once I get that information and tell you I am sending an invite and tell you when to expect it, like I'm sending it right now, whatever the case may be. And if you would join, get in and manage your team right off the get-go. Set your logo up, create your own little profile for the NFL.com if you don't already have one, so that we kind of get to know each other, and you don't have people just name team number 8, for example, in there. Name your team. So we will do that. In the meantime, I will get back to a regular broadcast schedule and probably do 1 or 2 a week leading up to the draft. I would love to have somebody that one, or I can actually have more than one that we can do a YouTube broadcast on, um, on with using Zoom. I can have multiple people uh, be online with me, like three at minimum. Okay. I mean, at minimum is one, but I can have three. And I'm in the process of getting their upgraded package tools that allow me to have more people in a meeting to record at that time. So um, that'll all come. We'll work it out by the time we get to that point. Um, but I will be doing pregame show, which will be either Saturday or Sunday game day, and a postgame show, either after the game or on Monday, a wrap up of the last week's games and taking a look ahead to the following week. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to send them to me on the podcast. If you listen to it, there's a message button. You can hit the message and type it out to me. And if you're on watching the YouTube video, you can turn around and make comments right below the description of the podcast, and I'll be able to respond to those immediately right there, or immediately within a day whenever I see them. But I get quite quickly do I receive um, an email stating that somebody made a comment on the YouTube channel. So I hope everybody's having a good night, good weekend. Um, Hope you're all getting excited for the season. We're 3 weeks away from the first Sunday of the season today. So we're all looking forward to fantasy football, I hope, this year, and real football. I hope that there's no delay and they figure this thing out and we're able to play. I would love to see, ideally, that there's going to be some fans in the stands, but watching the NBA playoffs and the bubble that they did, I know they can't do that for football, but even without fans, they seem to be doing a pretty good job of making it look like there's fans there with the virtual background and stuff like that. So happy to see that happening. So anyways, everybody have a great night. Have a great week. This is Rick Yaklin. Again, I'm your host and the producer of Dying a Detroit Lions Fan, and both on podcast and as well as a YouTube channel. Have a good night, and we will talk soon.